What's poppin'? It's your fly gal, Jvst Bri, coming at you with another episode of Life and Culture, the podcast. And I got a very special guest here with me. I'm talking about Grammy nominated. He's worked with so many artists. He's been a powerhouse behind many careers, not only here in Milwaukee, but nationally. And I'm talking about Chaz Roper.
What's up, Bri? How you doing, my sister?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Man, hey, listen, you came a long way, Queen. I remember you back when you was 16, 17 years old, working with Reggie, smooth as butter.
I know.
At V100, you was a youngster in high school.
Yeah.
Now you're a grown woman with your own show. So, hey, listen, I'm glad to be a part, my sister.
Thank you. It's kind of sometimes a little embarrassing because I'm like, oh my goodness, me back then.
Hey, man, it's part of your growth process, man.
I know.
So that's what's up, man.
Have grown. And so have you,
And
even the course of this time.
Yeah, but obviously you done well as a youngster because for me to remember you and stay in touch. We stay in touch every now and then. And when you ask me to do this, I don't really do this. So when you ask me, I'm like, let's do it, Bri. I rock with you, so let's go.
I love that.
I remember the younger version of you.
Yeah,
so, yeah, for sure.
And I'm still out here grinding, and
yeah.
it's because of people like you that keeps me inspired. There are some times like when I'm just not into it or feel discouraged because people can't see the vision, right? So then we do things like this, like, okay, if they're not going to give it to me, I'll give it to myself. I'll build it myself.
There you go. And then you got to remember this, too. When you talk about the vision, they can't see your vision. You got to remember when God gives you something and he calls you to do something, it's not a collect call. It's not a conference call. It's a direct call. So it's not, they weren't a part of that call that you had, you had your conversations with God. It's just you and him. So you can't expect them to believe in what you got going on. You just got to show what he's giving you. Because one thing about God, he don't give you a dream that's not that he can't pay for.
Right.
He never gives you a dream that he can't pay for. So if he gave you something, he gonna give you a blueprint to how to get there. So keep it going. I love it.
That's so funny that you mentioned that because that's this whole portion of my life right now because I'm about to be 25. At can you believe it? 17-year-old, 25.
That's what's up.
But about to be 25 and I'm at this middle point in life, and I looked it up, researched it, and my dad talked to me about it. But it's a real thing. When you hit 25, you start to think like, oh, wait, 30 is around the corner. What am I doing in life? Am I going to go this way? Am I going to go that way? And we talked a little bit off mic about how you got started in your early 20s versus starting as a youngin' in the game. Can you talk to that? Speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I started because I wanted to get a degree. There were some things I wanted to do as a young adult or adolescent. I wanted to go to college because my grandfather talked to me about college, so I wanted to experience that. So I did all of that first before I even tried my hand in the music industry. And it was important to me to make sure that I was well-rounded. And what that did was it allowed me to get connections that I wouldn't have gotten had I not done that.
Yeah.
It actually was the reason of how, by me going to college and not college, I didn't go to college at home. I went to college at Florida A&M in Tallahassee. So by me going to college, that allowed me to get into the industry because in college I met Rico Love.
Yeah.
And so I met him. I'm about 4 or 5 years older than Rico. But it might be 6. Let's say I'm a little older. Yeah. So I'm a little older than Rick, and I met him in college. I met him in Tallahassee. I never knew him in Milwaukee. I met him in Tallahassee.
Wow.
So
That's
that
impressive.
and that was my entrance. Rico was the entrance to the music industry for me. So had I not went to college, it'd have been a tougher road.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How did that relationship grow with that? So how did he get you into it?
So what happened was when we were in college, we would go to Applebee's. Used to have 2-for-1 happy hours on Fridays. So when I met him, and people were like, "Yo, it's this dude from Milwaukee named Rico that rap, whatever." So I'll go check him out. And back then we was like, "Oh, he got a Jay-Z vibe." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be from the have Midwest,
Yeah.
He's got a Jay-Z vibe. So we chopped it up, and this was when StarTech phones. You too young to remember this, but
I was
the
about
flip.
to say, I don't know.
This smartphone, iPhones, all that didn't exist. It was like the flip StarTech. They were like small, but you opened it up. You couldn't text. Only you could do was you could call. So I gave him my cell phone number back then, and we had it where you had free nights and weekends instead of you could just call and talk all you want.
Yeah.
But during the day after 7 p.m., you could call and you could just get your talk on and go crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, hit me up, but hit me after 7, so my nights, free nights and weekends.
Hey, let me tell you something. These minutes,
Man,
they running up.
They running up. You know
Got to keep it cool.
You had like 300, 200 minutes during the regular times, but then you can talk buffet after 7 o'clock.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he hit me, and I was like, yo, we going to go to Applebee's. I'm gonna come scoop you. He lived on campus. I lived off campus, so I picked him up, went to Applebee's. And until I had him on my podcast. That's how I found out what he was thinking when back then. He was like, man, Chad treated me so nice. He took us to eat. He took me to eat at Applebee's. He's like, but the whole time I'm getting 2 for $1. He, I would get something, then he just get the other whatever the 2 for $1 is.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, when the bill come, I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this, like, cause I ain't got no money.
Right.
But I didn't know that at the time. I was like, I invited you, so I got the bill. You know what I mean? But he'll tell me that story.
You just did that. See, that was you back then. You just did that. You said, what you want to go? You want to go get a salad? Yeah. If you want something, I got you. It's all good.
Yeah.
Same person.
That's literally how I am. This is how I was raised. So, but I never knew that was something that he thought about because it wasn't even a thought in my mind at the time. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the fact of me being. My grandfather, I had my mom and my grandfather was really who raised me, right?
Yeah.
On the male side, and he used to always tell me as a kid, because he didn't graduate high school, because he was born in 1919. Yeah. So over 100 years
Oh my
ago.
Goodness, yeah.
So he would say to me, always treat the janitor like the CEO because he or she just might be one day. So I always took that to heart, and I treated everybody as if they were somebody. And Rico was one of them. And it was good because later on, after I graduated, he went on, left college, and then started working with, with Corner Boys, and then ended up getting a situation with Usher. Yeah. So he wrote on Usher's album. Well, he remembered how well I treated him when we were, because we would ride back and forth to Atlanta together. Yeah. Yeah, but I had the car. I had, I had all the things at the time. But I just treated him as an equal, a brother. You know what I'm saying? Right. So later on, when he got into the music industry, he found out I could do what I could do. He came. My sister Lachey was on making a band. Yeah. And Lachey and his older sister Kashonda went to high school together. Yeah. So Rico knew of Shay through his sister. Mm-hmm. So he saw her on making the band like I did. So when we came to V100 to go on an interview with Lachey on Reggie's show, we was on Reggie's show, and Rico called in. And at that time, me and Rico I hadn't talked to him in maybe a year or two. Yeah. So he called in he was living in Atlanta at the time, from Atlanta to talk about how we were in college, like, how we built up in college. And he said on the air, and I'm going to come back. I got to come visit at the time we was me and Shay were living in Milwaukee. Yeah. I'm going to come write a song for Shay. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, cool. So maybe 2 weeks later, he came in town. He hit me up like, I want to come write that song for Shay. I got some tracks, come through. Yeah. So he wrote a joint. And this is my first time experiencing him as a writer because we worked together in the studio as we were in college. We go to the studio in college. But he would write, in a notebook. Well, this time, he was so gifted, he didn't write nothing down. He just go in there and just start singing the lyrics off the top of his head the track. And I'm like,
I always am amazed by people like that.
I was like, man, when you start doing it like this, I remember us being in the studio together. Yeah. He's like, man, just how I work now. I'm like, that's what's up. So long story short, we did the song. We did majority of the song, but we didn't record it. Lachey wasn't there. It was just me and him and his friend, our friend L. And so I hit Shay like, I got a record for you. At the time, she's a hairstylist. When you get done, then this weekend we're gonna cut this record. So we cut the record. I give the record. I hit Reg. Yeah. I'm like, Reg, I got this record that Rico wrote. Remember we was talking about it in the studio. He's like, man, you gotta let me hear it. Yeah. So I said, I'm gonna ride down on you. So I go out to the V. Yeah. Give him a copy. I'm like, yo, get this to Bailey too. Yeah. He's like, all right. He's like, I can't play it because she the program director. Right. You gotta go through her and they gotta get tested and all that stuff. So I'm like, cool. So Bailey got the record, never had a chance to listen to it, had it on the backseat of her car.
Oh, wow.
And her son, Kendall, was a baby, like 2 or 3 years old. Yeah. Well, he was talking age, so whatever age you are when you start speaking. And he ended up picking the CD up and asked her to play the song, play the CD, because it was just next to him. He
play this, do this.
She ended up playing it. It was Let's Not Talk About It. But it had back in the day, we had CDs. Yeah. And you could put like a cover on it and it had my contact information. And then she realized it was for me. Yeah. Like, oh, that's my boy. Yeah. So then she ended up calling me, telling me, like, guess what I'm playing right now? I was like, I can hear it. Let's not talk about it in the background. She's like, Kendall picked it up. He didn't want to like the song. But this is actually a dope record. I'm going to start testing the record. Yeah. So she like emailed me an MP3. So I sent it to her. Yeah. And that song ended up doing well in the Midwest. Right. And then Rico's friend, our friend, mutual friend L, hears it on the radio and called Rico and told him. Yeah. And Rico's like, yo, who recorded it? Who vocal produced it? Who mixed it? I'm like, me, bro. Like, I did everything. He was like, bro, we got to work. I was like, well, I'm teaching. I got to work. Right. But as a teacher, you get off in the summertime. Right. You got a whole 3 months. Yeah. So when I got off, I went to Atlanta and just stayed down there for the whole summer. And
did you come back?
Yeah, I came back because I had to teach. I didn't just quit.
I'm just asking. Yeah, I had to teach. Yeah.
So this was the trick, though. In order to stop teaching, I had to figure out my salary was $27,500. That's peanuts.
I know. Yeah.
What I did was I talked to the principal and convinced the principal to let me do a fundraiser in the school. The fundraiser was me putting a candy store in the school, and what that did was allow me to take the entire school on a field trip. It wasn't number 250 students in the school, so it wasn't like a big school. So the field trip probably cost me $3,000.
Yeah.
But I was making $45,000 a year selling candy.
My goodness.
I was making more selling candy and chips and pickles and all that junk than I was teaching.
Yeah.
So I would take that money and save that money.
And that funded you.
That's how I ended up leaving the school.
You know what's funny?
Doing that.
Some people wouldn't take the sacrifice of what that would have looked like, right? You went from being a teacher to being a candyman, and just because people have a lower ideology of a candyman versus a teacher, you made more in a back end that they don't even know about.
Right.
I don't know how many times people have thought like ill of what I do, of like, because they may see certain things, but then on an everyday, regular average, I'm just Bri, right?
Right.
And they may treat you like you're not somebody or anybody or nothing. And how far that comes back, that has been a time and time again, like, story in my life. And what advice do you give people when you're facing adversities that you have to go through, and you have to put yourself through it too?
Well, you see, the thing about the brain is you can't take your brain out and put it on a treadmill to work out, right?
Right.
Like, I can go to the gym and work out, get in shape, lose weight, all that, but my brain doesn't have that. The way your brain works is it uses obstacles and issues to build itself.
Yeah.
So to me, you have to look at it as a way of working your brain, and that's what a lot of times we get lazy, because if you could think about it like this, you can go work out and you'll be tired.
Yeah.
But if you had a long intellectual day, literally you'll fall asleep early because your brain was working hard.
Yeah.
So that tells you something, that is a reason why your brain is able to carry your body the way it does.
Yeah.
It works, but you have to continue to work it. So I would use those type of things, those type of situations as opportunity to continue to build that brain muscle, is what I call it. So that's how I look at it, man.
So when you were coming up, what adversities did you have to face early on? Like, if you got like one particular story in your mind that was like, this was the hardest thing to break into this industry.
The hardest part was the financial piece to me. It wasn't the creative, it wasn't the talent, it was the financial piece. So what you have to do is make choices to help that. So for example, there was no music industry in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I had to move to Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So, but now how did I get there? I used the candy store money, and I had other side hustles to figure that part out. So you got to make sure. I had to make sure that what I knew was that my best ability was my availability. I knew that.
Yes.
So it's hard to have opportunities in a place where there are no opportunities. So you have to go to where the opportunities are. A lot of times, at least back in my day, 20 years ago, people were so heavy about being the best in the city, which was the city of Milwaukee back then. And that's cool, but the city was back then. I don't know what it is now, but back then it was a C market. Yeah. I don't even know if it's better now, but back then it was a C market. So my thing was, if it's a C market, the opportunities are going to be C level. Yeah. You got to go to places where their markets are considered A markets, so you can have better opportunities for yourself. And a lot of times what people will do is won't take the risk. They're scared of risk. Yeah. And when you're scared of risk, you might as well just go do, everyday good hard work, because at the end of the day, if you want to play it safe, you're only going to get safe results. And that's what I was not willing to do. I was willing to risk it all. Hence is why I didn't have a child till I was in my 40s, because I didn't want to have to put a child through that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, it's just important that you are able to use those opportunities, like those quote-unquote hurdles, which mine was a financial hurdle. And I'll give you an example. When I was teaching, I would fly on the weekends back and forth to Atlanta. Yeah. While I was teaching. Yeah. But then what I would do, instead of having money to buy regular flights, and flights wasn't even that expensive back then. Yeah. Flights would be, maybe $300 on the high end back then. But what I would do, I'll find somebody to work at the airlines and get buddy passes. Yeah. And I would buy all their buddy passes. Yeah. But at the time, buddy passes wasn't electronic like you can do on the computer now. Yeah. It was slips of paper. Yeah. So if I was traveling from Milwaukee to Atlanta, it took me a slip to get to Atlanta and a slip to get back. But that buddy pass is gonna cost me $150, right? Yeah. So depending on where I'm going, is how many slips I got. So when I realized that, I would say I'm going from Milwaukee to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So what that means is I'm gonna have to go from Milwaukee to Atlanta. That's one slip.
Right.
Atlanta to Phoenix.
That's another
one. And then
one.
Phoenix to Albuquerque. So that's 3 slips to get there. But then I gotta come back. So now instead of it being 3 slips, it's 6.
Yeah.
So I would 150 got me 6 tickets.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You see what I'm saying? It got me 6 slips.
That would never go now.
Yeah, but it was 3. But it was 3 round trip tickets. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those 3 round trip tickets, I'm getting 3 round trip tickets for 150.
Right.
And if the person got 8 buddy passes, I'm buying all 8. So I'm saying, man, here go 8 times 150, and I want all stops where it's giving me the most legs. So now I got all these slips. Yeah. All I gotta do is just boom, boom, boom. So that kept me rolling. And then at the top of the year, it starts back over.
You know what? You are speaking to my soul right now because honestly, we relate on that I didn't even know, right? I never knew that you started in this industry in your early 20s. I had always thought like maybe it was a high school thing, especially knowing like Reggie's history and starting at high school.
Yep.
So I'm thinking like, oh, that must have been his too. Amazing how questions will go so far, right? And I'm literally at that pivot, right? I still teach. I'm here, but I've been looking more into other markets. I gotta go. I've been able to get A-list opportunities in a C market, I would say, and that's been a blessing. But sustainability when it comes down to opportunities, because opportunities are so far few in between here. Yeah. Which they are changing, and like we talked about before, you can create them, but in other markets, there's just a little bit there's an easier way to get them, and sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, right? Absolutely. And the relationships that you're able to covet. But here, trying to get relationships with people is like, it could be tight sometimes. So when I sit and I think about the journey that I'm about to take in these next few steps and what that looks like, because I've calculated when I want to leave, how I want to leave, and what I want to have before I go. What was that like for you when you knew it was your last day as the Candyman, the teacher, and going straight into being Chad C-Note Roper?
So what I would do is, this is what I'll tell everybody, and that's why when I do things with financial literacy now, is what I learned pumping my head. So if I know my bills are $2,500 a month, right? Which I will always tell people is to make sure you have that times 2, so that you don't have to worry for 24 months of paying bills. You're gonna make money in that time, so it's not like money just doing the way. You're gonna find a way to make some money. But what you do is you have a cushion. So if you give yourself a cushion, you could be more creative. It's hard to be creative when you financially frustrated. So those two don't go together.
It's hard to be creative when you got to go to work. It's hard to be creative when you had a bad day because somebody's parent is knocking down your door over something that you don't even know about.
Right. So what you do is you prepare. You go through. You go hard now in the area you're not comfortable with, so that you could have. I won't say completely comfortable, just some comfort, because the comfort zone is the danger zone. When you feel like you're comfortable,
isn't it?
That's when you start going backwards, and then you see it with. Producers, songwriters, radio personalities, artists, they get comfortable, then they was up here, then they fall off. It's because of comfort, them being comfortable. And if you can have the ability to make sure that you continue to challenge yourself, even when you're in a good space, you're going to just start to see the growth grow exponentially. And that's what we don't do. We get in a good space, and instead of going hard, we get comfortable and start relaxing and start doing things that we didn't do. That did not get us where we were.
Have you ever been comfortable?
Nah, I don't believe in comfort, because what it does is it will make you make me lazy. So I'm financially in a way better place, but at the end of the day, I'm always trying to do something to push forward. What's next? What's this? And the key is to figure out how to make your money make money for you. Yeah. So now you may be comfortable financially, but you still have discomfort when it comes to the mental aspect of your life or the career aspect of your life. So now you can still move forward. Yeah. I ain't saying I ain't saying have a 500 credit score with $30 in your pocket. I'm saying put $1 million. If you can get $1 million, get $1 million and get your 800 credit score. Right. But then leverage your credit to make you more revenue.
Right.
Now the finances is cool. Now you can focus on creating things, whether it's podcast or whatever it is you want to do. You're creating more things, and in those you're gonna find obstacles. So you're still not gonna be comfortable.
Right.
That's how you got to do it.
Everything is gonna come as it may, and it's so funny is I realized when it hit me like, oh, like I'm adulting now. Like I wouldn't even say, I still don't necessarily some days feel like an adult. But it hit me that I was adulting when I stopped letting all the little stuff get to me. All the little things, like when literally tire pop, blown, whole new tire. Need to go get it from Chevy dealership, low profile. $375. Next thing it was, the tags on the car was expired. It didn't do blah, 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 da-da-da, tow. And you got to go get the tags. All right, that was another $600. Okay, cool, boom. Yep. And I kept going. And I was like, Dad, I feel good. Although all this stuff is happening, I feel good.
Yeah, because you're able to do it.
He like, because you understand where you're at with everything. You understand your goals. You understand where you want to be in life. And these obstacles don't get you down. So let's transition over to now you're working with people. Now you're full-blown Chaz, roper. You're in a studio working with people. What was your best studio day? What's a good studio day for you?
What was a good? I'll tell you this one story. This was my working with my first big artist. Me and Rico we were in L.A. And we were working with DJ Toomp and Jamie Foxx. And we were working with it was a young man named Antonio. It was his first day as an intern. Like he's from out in that area. Yeah. We were working at the studio. I think it was Westlake. I said record plant before, but I think it was Westlake Studios now that I'm thinking about it. And that's kind of like the studio where like Michael Jackson recorded. It's like a real big popular studio. Yeah. And the art, one thing with me and Rick, it was all about having good energy. You know what I'm saying? The energy, everybody in the room got good energy. So we ended up having a good time. Jamie cracking jokes, Toomp, we all just having a good time. And the intern was a part of that. We didn't know until later that this was his first week being in the music industry. Okay. But we all had the thing. Rico treats people just as well. Like we all got that same thing. Treat the janitor like the CEO because they just might be one day. So we literally had a good week. It was just a great week working. And we was like, all right, Antonio, good seeing you, blah, 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 whatever. Now we're done. So this was it was because I remember it was Halloween time around that time. I don't remember the year. But Jamie,
I would not expect you to.
Yeah. But so we were done. So you as a engineer or whatever, you send your invoice in. So my invoice was only like $1,500 or something, like $2,000. It was like it was not a big amount of money. And I sent my invoice from as soon as our last day that night. I'm submitting the invoice where he told me to send everything, Foxhole Entertainment, blah blah blah. So I send it, and so then this is October, so November come. No, normally it comes within 30 days. Nothing. Yeah. So the December come. I'm like the middle of December. I'm like, Reek, I never got paid. He's like, what? You should have been got paid, bro. Hold on once. He called Jamie on the three-way, like, bro. Cino said he didn't get paid. Jamie's like, that's impossible. I was like, I wouldn't. I said, go just do your due diligence. This was Friday.
Right. You're not mad.
No, I'm saying,
hey, can you just handle it?
Like, do your due diligence, you know what I'm saying? And so he looked. He did. This was Friday during the day, so we were on the East Coast, so it was like maybe 3:00, but it's only noon over there. Right. So he hit me back, like, man, I apologize. We don't do business like that. We getting it overnight. You'll have it Monday at the latest. Okay. So boom, they get it done. They send it. So let's say if the invoice was like $2,000. Yeah. So Monday, knock on the door, FedEx. Yeah. Can you sign? It's me. Boom. Open it. The $2,000, it was $4,000. He doubled it. Oh my! But I thought it was a mistake. Yeah. So I'm like, I call Rick, bro. Can you call? They made a mistake on my check, bro. It's supposed to be this and it's this. He's like, okay. So hit. Yeah. Jamie was like, nah. That's yours. We don't do business like that. You had to wait. We paid you double because you should not have to wait. I don't know what you and your family going through, if it was some issues or whatever financially, but I wanted to make sure I had you covered, so I paid you double on purpose. Oh, that's called being a good businessman, because he didn't want, I was nobody. Right. But he didn't want that to be on him. On his business. I could run around and talk. I could be the next big thing. And then I could say, man, I remember one time Jamie Foxx, blah, blah, blah. No, he knew that. he wanted to make sure he treated me right. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I just didn't want to cash it because I didn't want no problems. He's like, no, that's all your money. And again, I apologize. We don't do business like that.
Right.
Well, fast forward. Now, remember I told you about Antonio in the studio.
Yeah.
So at this time, I got big sound. I got my company. Mm-hmm. So I go to a Rihanna writing camp with my man Sounds. And I get there, the first person I see at the studio is Antonio.
Yeah.
So Antonio like, bro, I just seen Rico last week. He was here working with Usher or Chris Brown or somebody or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's what's up. He's like, man, I just was asking him how you were doing because I've been thinking this was like 5 or 6 years later.
Right.
He's like, I was wondering how y'all were doing because y'all treated me so well as an intern.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I'm sure you're an engineer or something. He's like, no. I run the building now.
Oh.
I'm like, what? He's like, bro, so listen, at that time in my life, I was going through some things that y'all wouldn't know about. He was like, but y'all treated me so well, it encouraged me. He's like, no other session was as good as it was with y'all because y'all treated me like family. He's like, but that gave me the courage and energy to continue on. And now I am. He said, man, if you in LA and you need a room, all you gotta do is call me. If I got something available, it's yours, and I don't want your money is no good with me.
Right.
He was like, and I was like, man, that's what's up. So we hugged and we was kicking. I said, man, make sure you come in. But it was the fact that I treated the janitor like the CEO.
Right.
Think about if I'd have treated him, or any one of us would have treated him bad.
Right.
And everybody
like, go get this, go get that.
Now, it wasn't about that. It was just we still included him. Like if we went and got something to eat, we made sure he ate too. Like if we went somewhere, he went with us.
Right.
Like it was like a thing. And the fact that you treat even you. When I met you, I treated you like a little sister or a niece or something. You know what I'm saying?
Like a pretty princess. I mean, when you walked in, you were like, "You want something?" You know, we used to have that like cafe, and we had to pay for our own stuff when we worked there. So I would like put money on my card or whatever. And I remember you heard me just say it like slyly or whatever, like, "Oh dang, I'm kind of hungry." And I think I said something like, "I'm gonna go get something to eat after or whatever." And then you walked out. You said, "Did you want anything?" I said, "No, I'm okay." You went in there. You bought like little things you thought I like, and you was like, "Here you go."
Just take it,
Like, just take it. Yeah. And still to this day, it made me feel special. When you responded back on Instagram, I was like, thank God, Jesus. Like,
I know who you are. I follow you, fam. Like,
I know.
I got you, Bri, what you need.
But
it's got to be these dates when I'm going to be around. But yeah.
Right.
But it's to me, it's about the impact on people. Because now you the next Oprah Briefrey. You know what I'm saying?
Oprah
like,
Briefrey.
I remember this dude by, maybe in the next 10 years, I'm going to be 56 by then. But you be like, I want to bring this old man I met back in the day when I was a kid. And you got good things to say about. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's what it's more about with people. Because, see, one thing about people, they're going to remember what you do well, do good with them, and they're going to remember what you do bad to them.
Yes.
If when I cross your path, I want it to be a positive and a pleasant experience. That's just me.
Yeah.
Everybody not like that. And I see a lot of people that's not. And the crazy part, the bigger the artist, the bigger the star, that's how they are.
Yeah.
The big stars are like that.
And
it's the small ones that's just coming up that want to treat people like whatever. But the big ones who really there for real, that's really having it, they're nothing like that.
And I do want to touch on topics of like the industry, right? This is a cutthroat industry.
Facts.
I mean, I think we all have had minor experience, big experiences. Obviously your experiences are worth more than what I can even think of, right? What things in the industry can you say to absolutely downright avoid? If you can name your top 3, what do you avoid as young artists, young Bri, young whoever coming up?
So I'll tell young artists to make sure they have a real team around them. People that do what they say they do. So before you do any deals or any contractual obligations with anybody, make sure you have a good attorney that specializes in that area. So you don't want to have a real estate attorney looking at a music contract. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't want, it's certain things you just don't want. Because the way the industry is nowadays, it's one little word, perpetuity, or something like that change the whole clause that you were looking at.
Wow.
So you got to make sure that you got the right people in your corner. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say this: a good manager gets you things you're supposed to have. A great manager gets you things you haven't even earned yet.
Really? What is the difference between the two?
So, okay,
if
you're an artist who got a following online or whatever, and labels will try to get you, they'll get you the standard deal.
Yeah.
A good manager will get you the standard deal, which is what most people get. But then a great manager is going to take their time and comb through every single clause and try to change things that you're not supposed to get because your leverage isn't good enough, but you'll end up getting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they want you initially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I was really good at when I worked with artists. I made sure that I got the best deal possible for that particular artist that I'm working with, because at the end of the day, whether it works out for you or it doesn't, it's not because the contract's bad.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of times people be in bad contracts, and that stuff don't work out because of that.
Yeah.
But if something don't work out for you, when I work with you, it's not because the contract is bad. And that's what I pride myself into that. So you can't be mad at your management.
And
your
honestly,
team,
you've been doing this so long, and there's nothing like that out there about you. So you could back up what you have done with time, evidence, and obviously, like, ain't nothing bad going on here.
Right.
But this was a funny thing I wanted to ask you. Because Denzel said this. He said, you got to leave before the devil walks in. And he's talking about parties. Has that been your experience?
I'm going to be honest with you. I was there to get the money.
Yeah.
I was very, if it wasn't like Grammy-oriented parties, I didn't go.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would go there for connecting purposes, or, meeting people or having conversations with people I already know purposes. But outside of that, I wasn't going to people's cribs to party, even though that was available. Certain things I just wasn't going to do because I was there to get paid. I wasn't there. I wasn't there to spend money. You know what I'm saying? I was there to make money. So I was literally, if our session ended, if we were in LA and our session ended, I remember we were working with Michelle from Destiny's Child one time.
Okay, yeah.
And we probably was there for a month working with Michelle.
Yeah.
So let's say we got there on the 1st, and our last day was the 30th.
Yeah.
If the session ended 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and we were done, I was booking a red eye that same day, getting up out of there, going to the crib. Like, that's how I was with it. I didn't stick around. You know what I mean? That's just how I was. But
is it because any experience that you didn't stick around, or you was just like naturally?
I was literally there. I was there on business.
Yeah,
like, everything was all business. Even though we had fun and we were, I was there on business, man. Yeah. Literally, that's what I was there for. And I know how to separate business and personal. Yeah. I know at the end of the day, once we're done with this project or whatever we're working on, the odds of the artist reaching for you for something else, because if artists most of the time aren't really loyal to people who've done things with them, it's not a thing.
Right.
You'll find more producers or writers or stuff like that have more loyalty than any artist will, and that's okay. That's the way of the world. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's a business, so they don't owe you anything. You see what I'm saying? The goal is to do what you're doing for whoever at that time, and then keep it moving. Right. And so that's how I looked at it. Let's do what we're doing, and I'm gonna keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
That's how I was as a writer or producer or engineer or vocal producer. Yeah. That's how I am as a manager or whatever I am. I'm the same way every time.
Right. So with those pieces of advice, more particularly, I want to talk about artists here in Milwaukee, right? We got the young JPs and the big Franks who are coming up in this game. What is your biggest advice literally to, like, those kids who are, I shouldn't even call them kids, we're around the same age, young men around that same age who's, like, out here trying to get it. They got themselves hit records. They're doing interviews. They're doing up smaller tours and stuff like that, but they want to get to that point. What's your advice for that?
I would say make sure you build a good team, not just somebody who's your friend that was around. And that's good to have keep those people around, but don't give them a position where they don't really know the business. Because at the end of the day, if you got these records, and mind you, they make money today, but the budget is completely different from back in the day to now. Like back in the day, we'll go to the studio and have a $500 food budget every single day.
Oh, really?
You go to the studio with somebody now, you got to buy your own food. It's like completely different how it used to be back in the day.
My goodness, yeah.
A hotel, we would be staying at the Sofitel in Beverly Hills or, the Ritz and all these. We stand there for a month. And it's no big deal. The label paying for everything. We getting rental, we rent Corvettes and all BMWs and all that. That's how it used to be back in the day. It's nothing like that now. You might get you a Camry if you're lucky, or an Uber. You know what I'm saying? They try to put you.
And they say we'll reimburse you. By the way, like you do all the Uber and then
send us an invoice. Send us an invoice and a receipt. Yeah. So it's completely different. I would just say to those young brothers, man, I'm happy for your success. I love it. I love to see young people getting what they want out of life, but make sure you handle the business because at some point, there's going to be an up, and then what goes up must come down. Make sure that you don't make yourself overly accessible because if I can see you I used to tell Ray Nitty this back when he had Bow back in the day. I say, Ray, Nitty, bro, why would you go to this club this night, Tuesday, this club Wednesday, this club Friday, when I'm going to pay to see you, bro?
Yeah.
Why would I pay? All I got to do is go to this club and pay the $10 to get in, and I can see you. Yeah. I used to say that to him. So make sure even though social media allows you to do some things, do those things on social media, but they're not able to see you in person.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not as accessible, because you got to realize, I'll take it back to the Bible. Jesus couldn't perform miracles in his own home because they knew him already. He was just, that ain't nobody but such and such I went to school with him. That's how people look at you in your hometown. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're accessible.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
that's a real thing.
I tell them that, man. And then if people got something negative to say about you, let them say it. It don't matter. You ain't got to respond to everything. Right. And that's the problem. Yeah. People in the society nowadays, if you don't respond in 24 hours and 48 hours, it just go to the next thing. Yeah. So if you just let it be what it be, it don't even matter at that point.
The best example of that, and I tell people all the time, you remember Usher?
Absolutely.
That went on for like 2 months with that whole. It was obviously a woman who had nothing to do with him.
He didn't even pay no mind.
No mind, no energy to this day. We don't know if he has it or he don't. If you don't remember, it was the scandal about the herpes state. It doesn't even matter.
Come on, man.
I loved how he dealt with that. It doesn't even matter.
Man, people will say anything for press.
Now he's the Super Bowl. He's the Super Bowl king right now. Right. Everybody talking about how he had the best Super Bowl. And not one time did I see that pop up. Not at least in my timeline. I didn't see it because
it didn't matter. It's not relevant to his career. It was somebody trying to get some money, some click, whatever.
Yeah, and he said nothing.
For what?
But
now the social media but back then social media didn't exist for us. So now everybody gotta get their opinion or try to prove if they're right or wrong. To me, that's the biggest mistake you can do. Right. Why give it's like there's a fire starting on this table, and instead of us just blowing out the fire, we throw gasoline on it. For what? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
let it go.
Cover it with the coats or the cover and keep it moving. It's gonna burn out because something else is gonna happen tomorrow.
Right.
That's bigger and better. Trust me.
Right.
And that's what people don't understand. There's always tomorrow, man.
And it's so funny. I think that sometimes people don't know, right? Mm-hmm. Like how long or what I did at V100, mm-hmm. but I got to see everything. Mm-hmm. I got to be in rooms that still benefit me to this day.
Absolutely.
So being able to not be seen so much, I used to think that DJing in the clubs, hosting in the clubs, like you got to be out here, you have to be seen in order for people to see you, value you, and whatnot. It turned out it wasn't even that. Mm-hmm. I took a year and a half off from everything because I needed to recollect. Mm-hmm. And everybody thought I was crazy. I'm talking about social media, everything. I needed to understand what did I want in life, how did I want it in life, and how I was going to get it.
Right.
That year and a half changed my whole trajectory. It changed who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. And when I did that, everything else fell into my lap. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't go searching for much. It came to me. Mm-hmm. Because I think I heard God and I heard what he said that he wanted me to do. Yep. And then that time, I started my own business. My business won an award. Like, I had stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when it all came back around, God was like, okay, now I need you to put that back on hold and come back and do this. Mm-hmm. And all those skills that I used to build a business, all those skills that I used to build a business plan, I then adjusted that to my life, mm-hmm. and now I'm starting to see, oh my God, like that's what I needed to do. Absolutely. I would never have got the Bucks job if I still was in the clubs, mm-hmm. because you can't be
both
bottle popping. Mm-hmm. How you gonna do that and still be professional? And trust me, artists can do it, right? It's just different. Cardi mm-hmm. B can be the same person mm-hmm. throughout because that's a different lane.
Absolutely.
But in this lane where you have to be a professional working under a company. You don't have to work under a company, but also how do people view you? Exactly. How serious are people going to take these conversations?
Absolutely.
One of my favorite podcasts right now, his name is Jay Shetty. Mm-hmm. And maybe you know him or maybe you don't. Mm-hmm. But he was a monk before. Like, he had so many different things that he did before he's like this podcasting guy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I felt so guilty that I started this business and left that to do this and then come back to do this. Mm-hmm. And he was a whole monk.
Yep.
Monks don't believe in internet. So exactly. He went to be a monk. He was, I forgot what he said, what else he did, but he literally went through these things in life to now become who he is. Mm-hmm. And now in my life, I'm starting to appreciate it more. I'm just trying to understand it more, right? Mm-hmm. And the best thing for artists, I think, too, is to give yourself time to grow. Mm-hmm. And it's instant gratification. I'm not where I want to be, like social media followers, whatever, but I'm where I want to be in life, and I'm where I want to be as a person.
And a lot of people that you see online aren't where they want to be for real. They just acting like it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
I always tell people, never compare your highlights. Never compare others' highlights to your real life. It's just idiotic. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Because people are only going to show you what they want you to see.
Right.
And nobody's going to be transparent to show you the downfalls. It's very rare.
The year before I took the year off, I was going through it. Mm-hmm. I was hitting obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and I'm acing. I'm getting over them. I'm getting over them, but I'm feeling like I'm getting hit so hard, and I'm staying down longer, and I'm more depressed. I was not where I wanted to be, and now you can't see me like that. Like, I just won't. I just won't.
Absolutely.
You could throw the world at me right now, the book at me. Some of my favorite people can go. And I still would be like, okay, God, it's in you, and God I trust, and that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
And to be able to piece that up with myself. And I think that you have been a pillar of that, especially here in Milwaukee. I mean, you just did something for me that you don't even, you know what I mean? You just knew to jump in and do that. And without even saying it, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
But to be that type of person and to be in this industry, has that ever been hard for you?
No, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Industry ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
One thing about me, the reason why I do well with people is because I'm authentically me all the time. So this is who I am. I don't change. You know what I'm saying? No, I treat people that's worth $100 million the same as a person who's worth $1,000. It doesn't matter to me. So that's why I'm able to connect with both.
Yeah.
I can be cool and build a relationship with like a P from QC.
Right.
When Lil Baby came in town, P called me like, "Yo, I need when Baby come to Milwaukee, I need to get him in the studio." So I got you.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you're good. No problem. I'll take care of you. And when he came to Milwaukee,
took care of.
I called who I called and made sure nobody even know he went to that particular studio that everybody runs around to.
Yeah.
But right after the show, he went to that studio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just things like that where when you do good business and do good by people, because had I not done good business or done good by that company when I was working with them, why would he waste his breath calling me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you still are able to cultivate those relationships. And I want to talk about your discography. It is all over the place. You didn't stay in one genre. You wasn't just this like, oh, this all hip hop and R&B. When I started looking, I was like, okay, all right. There's only so much that I can get to and talk about or even to pick out. But what made you become this open format engineer? Because not everybody's like that. Some people just stick to a genre, and that is it. That is all.
So what it was is because I engineered, but I vocal produced as well, and that's hard to find a good vocal producer.
Okay.
So I
didn't know it was a difference.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So the engineer is the person who's able to control the Pro Tools session that you're working in, like the actual software and the mixing board and the EQ and the sonics of the song.
Yeah.
But me as a vocal producer, that's really what got me where I'm at. The engineering was good, but you can get it's engineers all across the thing. It's get somebody to record. But what it was the fact that I was able to arrange the song. So, for example, there was a record that we did that literally just went platinum. Now, we did it maybe...
You just posted about it, yeah.
Tanisha Kelly,
yes.
I Wish You Loved Me, right? So, Rico wrote the song.
Yeah.
He wrote the whole song. D-Town produced the song. Rico literally sung it down one line all the way down.
Yeah.
And
but wait, where did he sing it at first though?
Oh, my voicemail. He sung it all the way down. So all I did was took it and recorded it in the studio mic.
Yeah.
On time and lined it up with the beat. And me and Shay got in there and cut the joint. The record was supposed to be for Fantasia, not for Tanisha Kelly.
Right.
So that's why when we did if you hear the demo of Lachey singing it,
yeah,
she's going bananas on it. Because we like Fantasia can go crazy, so we
right.
go.
She got this rage.
We about to go crazy. We was throwing all type of Clark Sister harmony arrangements. We was going crazy because we thinking it's Fantasia.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the song went to Tanisha instead, but Tanisha can blow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just crazy that the arrangement in there was what I do as a vocal producer. Rico was not there when we did the demo.
Right.
I was in Milwaukee. He was in Atlanta. You see what I'm saying? So we weren't even in the same spaces.
Right.
But it was the fact that was my job as a vocal producer. So later on, I was known for vocal. I remember one thing I do regret. I remember Tiffany J, young lady manager at the time, called me to be the vocal producer for the kid, Aaron Carter. His brother was Nick Carter in the Backstreet Boys.
Okay, yeah.
But Aaron Carter was like a real big.
Yeah.
What's the name?
You know he passed away.
Yeah. But she tried to get me to be his vocal producer because I vocal produced so well. But I was like, no, we moving the groove too much.
Right.
I regret not. That was one regret, and then I had another one when a good friend of mine, LaShawn Daniels, who is the Bible of vocal producing and an amazing songwriter. He worked with Darkchild Rodney Jerkins.
Okay.
Well, he wrote and vocal produced majority of like Full Moon, the whole Brandy joint.
Yeah.
All that harmony, all that's LaShawn.
My goodness.
He did You Rock My World with Michael Jackson. Like he did everything. Well, me and LaShawn ended up getting real cool working with my boy TC and Tamar Braxton.
Yeah.
We spent like a whole week and a half together mixing one of her albums because the engineer that they originally had as a mix engineer double booked itself. So I'm at my friend's wedding. I get a call from TC like, bro, I need your help. Can you mix this album? I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking like next week, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I got you.
He like, now.
He like, can you come to tomorrow? I'm like, bro, I'm at a wedding. I'm like, and I got sessions this week. I'm not canceling. That's some bread. I'm not canceling.
Right.
So then he had Tamar's husband at the time. Vince called me to get me to convince me to cancel financially.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Take care of me.
He said, whatever you need.
Whatever you making,
please.
I'm doubling it. Just cancel it. We need to get this done. I said, cool. So
and if you remember how she used to treat him on the thing, I know he was getting it.
Yeah.
If you don't get me somebody who can come in here and do this.
End up wanting to do it, but in that time, I was able to build a relationship with somebody who I looked up to in this space of vocal production. And LaShawn called me. After we did that, we was always cool. I go to LA like, yo, come, let's go get some crab leg. We was like the crab leg kings. We love king crab leg. So if we was in the same city, we was gonna link up to go get us some crab leg.
Right.
So the last time we were together, me, him, and we went to Warren Campbell's studio called My Block.
Okay.
We went and ate crab legs, then went to Warren Campbell's studio to play records with each other. So he was playing me stuff because he was working with Warren and My Block at the time.
Yeah.
So we chopping it up, doing stuff. He's like, bro, but I got something big I'm getting ready to do. Once it's locked in, I'm going to hit you and see if we can do it. Well, what he had big was he was getting back in with Brandy.
Okay.
And he was working with my boy who I did the song with the Backstreet Boys.
Don't tell me it was the era when she came right back out.
Yes.
I'm going to put it down.
So listen, we get ready.
That's one of my favorite Brandy eras.
They were going to work on this project, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he called me like, bro, I need you to come engineer and vocal produce with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool, bro. I was like, well, I need the budget to be this if I'm going to be doing this for this many weeks.
Right.
He was like, all right, I'm going to get back with you. Well, the company didn't want to meet my budget. So LaShawn was going to pay me out his pocket. He's like, bro, I'll just pay you did you take what they going to give you, and I'll just pay you. I'm like, bro, your money ain't no good with me. I'll do whatever you want for free.
Right.
But they got to pay, bro.
Right.
So I end up not doing it. And then LaShawn ended up getting into an accident and passing away.
Oh,
I don't regret not doing
that.
the project. I could care less about the project.
Right.
I regret not being able to spend that time with my boy. That's what I regret. I can care less about the album or whatever.
Yeah.
That's whatever. But it was the fact of not spending that time with him. So that's those two regrets that I have in the industry. It was those two. Not doing the Aaron Carter thing and then not doing the
That's one of the toughest parts about like this industry is when you see people go that you know.
Man, he's young. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
But he was young. So at the time, probably was like 40. So he was like 39. Like he was like, you know what I'm saying? So
super young.
And he was like the biggest in the industry. He was a huge, but you would never know.
Yeah.
He'd come in and make everybody feel like they was, you know what I'm saying? Like he just was, everybody thought he was their friend. That's how good of a person this brother was.
Right.
And he was like a God-fearing church guy. Like, so it wasn't like he was like out here on some craziness.
Yeah.
And the fact, in my mind, this is bad to say, but I could think of 100 other people that could have happened to besides him.
Right.
That were a piece of garbage. You know what I'm saying?
No, seriously.
This was a really good person.
Yeah.
So it just
I know
crazy to me.
I know how that feels. Like you like, ooh.
Yeah, man.
You know, because you like that one from me.
Yeah,
like,
so,
yeah.
you know, what was the question again? I went off one time.
So, no, it's okay. You mean me forgetting, but that's okay.
But why did
I know how to leave from.
You asked me why did I go to so many genres?
Yeah.
And the reason why is because of my vocal production skills.
Yeah.
Which is why I told you that story, because there was one the R&B, urban, and then you got the pop with that kid.
Yeah.
So it's completely two different things. Because dude was Justin Bieber before Justin Bieber. The Aaron Carter kid was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my music is music to me. So I can vocal produce whether country, R&B, rock, rap. It didn't matter what it is. I could vocal produce that. So that's why you'll see me working with the Backstreet Boys, working with the Backstreet Boys. But then you'll see me with Estelle, somebody from London. Then you'll see me with Brandy on Brandy album. You know what I'm saying? Then you'll
Michelle
see
Williams.
Michelle, you'll see different things.
Yeah.
Because it was literally, one, I was working with Rico, and Rico worked with everybody.
Right.
But then two, when I started on my own, I was the same. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
It was literally whoever needed a record, we got records.
When I found out you and him twerk City Girls, I said, what?
Yeah, I got the pack in my thing.
I realized that
that's all Rico though. I can't even take credit for that. That's all
really?
Rico wrote everything. He did everything. I just was the.
Do you know how shocked I was to find out that men write better women's songs than women write women's songs? I had to compute that.
That was crazy. And I remember
a man in there
at the last minute,
it.
me and Rico was in LA working with some new artists, and we were in the studio getting ready to work with that artist, and the label called him and was like, Cardi B did the verse. QC called.
Yeah.
And this was before I was dealing with QC. This
right.
So Rico like, bro, I'm finna have them send you. I'm getting ready to have them to send you Cardi's verse. We got to put it in the session and make sure it's on point. So when it go to mix, it's not off.
Right.
If you don't send it right, the engineer's just gonna mix what it is, and it is what it is.
Right.
So we getting their vocal right to make sure it's in place, the timing perfect and everything.
Yeah.
And sent it off. But we literally we got her vocal literally a day or 2 days before the song was supposed to come out.
And y'all had to work with JT Vocals, who at the time she wasn't even
she
out. She couldn't do
she was in jail.
Nothing virtually.
Yeah, but one thing I admire about QC, they're very brilliant men. They literally went ham on getting them in with so many people and getting so much stuff. So they had so much music. When one was gone, the music was still making it as if she was still there. And then her counterpart,
Young Miami,
made sure that she referenced her. So it really made it, even though she was gone, it created appetite for her coming back.
Yes,
so
it did.
Kept them on an upward trajectory.
I still got my free JT shirt that we got from the actual label from Mariah and them back. Mariah, who's actually from here.
Yep.
And that was one of my favorite. That's when I tell you that was the start of my career in music. I saw a different light. Like if I could find a job with some company to A&R, I think I could do it. Because you see so much behind the scenes, even in just radio. And we're like the last, not even the last stop, but close to the end. When the song is cut, done, dry, now it's time to promote in that whole backstory, that's seeing everything produced. I mean, I've heard things that still haven't came out yet. I heard things that I knew that was coming out, or at least thought it was coming out years ago, and then now it finally dropped. It is an operation behind music, and like you said and harped on before, the team is everything. The team is everything. They have to know when it's a go, when it's not a go, when to pull back on a record, when to go full-fledged on a record. And that is some of the hardest things to do. But another thing that I think is very hard is genre, like when you mix genres, right? We saw it with Nelly. He went over the country. Even K. Michelle, she went over the country. I think you know where this question is going. How do you feel about artists who are venturing into new genres, especially bigger ones like Beyonce herself?
I think it's brilliant because music is music. And the crazy part is, country music is black music.
I know.
So all the white people
if you
get
got
mad,
Southern family, you must not know. You
all
must
the white
not
folks
know.
get mad that black artists are in country. Country is our music. So just because y'all do what y'all normally do, take something.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? No, that's black music. So I could care less about what the audience feels. The artist has the right to do whatever. Just like it's cool when Eminem come to hip hop. Black people don't care.
Oh, you know what I like?
Skilled.
Miley Cyrus. Remember that time?
That's what I'm saying.
Remember that era?
Exactly.
Everybody like to forget that one.
Exactly. But to me, music is music, man. Music is universal. It's people. I remember one time, me and Reek and D-Town, a bunch of us flew to Panama to go to Romeo Santos concert.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I can't. Not Reek had did a lot of songs with him, and they did maybe a couple Diamond albums together or something.
Right.
So I just went to kick it, and when we were there, it was amazing to me how I was rocking to the music and don't speak. I cheated in Spanish. You hear me? I know how to say yes.
Oh my goodness.
I know how to say what's your name. You know what I'm saying? I know how to say the basic stuff, but the fact.
And when you was a teacher, when you caught a kid cheating, what did you say?
I didn't do. I reprimanded them, but I didn't do nothing because I did it.
Okay.
So I ain't tripped. But and I was like, you just got to be better at it. You know what I'm saying? Like you got caught, bro. You get an F on this one, but you got to be more slick with it.
Not you telling the kids be more slick.
I did it too. can tell you some college stories that was crazy. But literally, it's amazing to me that it didn't matter that I didn't know the language. I felt the music.
Yeah.
And I was standing in front of it's called the front of house where the sound. That's where I was standing there watching the show, and I'm looking around. And it's a soccer stadium with 80,000 people going crazy. It is sold out. There's no seat in the house.
Yeah,
and it's going ham, and it's something the language I don't even speak. Or when you see, like you'll hear about who was that telling us? It was an artist telling me. Oh, the Backstreet Boys. We was in the studio, and they was telling us how they will be overseas in like Japan or China or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And the crowd was singing their song but couldn't speak English.
Yeah.
But they could sing their song. So that tells you music is universal. So ain't no such thing as this your music or that. You know what I'm saying?
It's that one Selena song that I love. Lots of it.
Exactly.
I don't know nothing about what she's talking about, but that gets me in mode.
Do you know what song I used to like back in the day?
What?
Richie Valens La Bamba.
Yeah.
I don't know the words, but the melody was so dope to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's saying now.
Yeah.
And that was years ago.
Right.
I watched I'm like a real documentary and that type of person.
Me too.
So
I like
watched
to see what was.
the story of how he passed away on the airplane and all that stuff with
Really?
Buddy Holly. Yeah. So I watched that back in the day. But the song was such a dope record. I'm like, man, this is again, I cheated in Spanish, so I still don't know what he's saying right now. But I loved that record back in the day. So to me, music is universal. It doesn't matter what genre. My cousin, my little cousin, Shy Carter, like Shy, his name is Blake Carter. That's his government.
Yeah.
But so Blake, I'm gonna refer to him as Blake just for
sake.
So Blake was working with Nelly at first.
Okay.
He was doing a lot of stuff with Nelly. He was an artist of Nelly in that space, but he's an amazing songwriter. He wrote a Lady Antebellum song that was real big. I can't remember the name of the song, but he was the writer. This is a black man who wrote this song.
Right.
But you wouldn't been able to tell that it was him, but he was the same guy who was writing raps with Nelly.
T-Pain said that too.
Yes.
T-Pain said it is not worth the criticism that you will face to have your names publicly on those credits.
That's a fact.
So he has asked, literally, if his name is on something that is outside of hip-hop, whether it's rock, whatever, he specifically asks them,
don't put me in the credits.
Don't put me in the credits. Just give me the money.
Yep.
And that's insane, because now, if you go through T-Pain discography, there's things missing because we won't know.
Exactly.
And that's not fair.
Guy,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a talented guy.
Extremely. I got to be behind the scenes of Wisconsin Fest, and I was actually doing something with Lil Scrappy, and then it ballooned to like me being able to interview other artists there. Oh my God, so talented. He ran the whole show, then got on stage and killed it the way that he did.
Yep.
I was blown away. And then to know, like, years later, without him singing on auto-tune, this man can blow. This man has vocal range.
I saw T-Pain from Tallahassee. So
yeah.
He was coming up when I was in college in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
So there's a club in Tallahassee, it used to be called The Moon, and they would have open mic things where people would perform. Well, I saw the Nappy Boy T-Pain group.
Yeah.
I knew him then. Like, I met him back then as a regular. Auto-Tune wasn't on then. He was on stage singing. So I knew I knew what he could do because of how I saw him in college.
Right.
I just didn't know he was as talented as he was as far as the writing aspect.
Man, but sometimes y'all move too much in silence. Pop y'all gums. Let us know something.
Yeah.
I was an adult when I found out that he can sing. And I was listening to him. Buy Me a Drink. I was not supposed to be listening to that.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do when you a parent and this is your song that just came on the radio and you've been in the car 500 hours with your kids?
Exactly.
You're gonna listen to that song.
Yeah.
And naturally, it made me a music lover, and that was one of my favorite songs growing up. Buy You a Drink, and I was little.
Yep. T-Pain is a problem, man. He's dope.
And he doesn't get his flowers as much as he deserves. And then to come to find out, like, you remember MTV Cribs, he still stayed there. He like, why about all this money to move?
I work in that house, in that studio.
He goes live.
He had a group.
He got a whole gaming.
Sophia Fresh. Yeah, he had a group called Sophia Fresh that he had signed to his company, and me and TC worked with them in that exact studio.
Yeah, and that's where
that was years ago. Yeah,
that's where he still streams at.
Yep.
And that made me become so aware of, you don't need to be this. You don't need to. But y'all need to pop y'all gums a little bit more. Because I'm sitting up here looking, oh, wait. Chad did a pop record?
And the crazy part is, the funny part is, on some songs, I be on the background and nobody even know that's me singing. Because I'm not going to tell you.
But see, just now, how long have we known each other? I've never known that you even sang.
Yeah, but people who know me from back in the day, they knew I was in gospel groups coming up.
Yeah.
So they know
you Temptations?
That's how I was able to vocal produce. Because I sing.
Right.
And to this day, like, I can get in there and cut some joints. It's not a problem, but I prefer to tell somebody else to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you do that? Do you take your name off of things if you feel like it's gonna be?
Give me my. I don't care. I'm not scared of nobody. You want to do racism? That's cool. I got attorneys. I don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
I'm not taking my name off nothing.
Understandable.
So, no way, never.
I understand.
Because see, in this industry, if you may not get the financial payment that you may get, but if you got the credit, it's gonna lead to more revenue.
Right.
So I'm not giving no credit for nothing. I don't care what it is.
So when you talk about credit, can you explain to us how does that split work? Like in a synopsis, if you could, because I know it's long. Like one song, people barely realize like how much goes to others before it actually comes to that one artist. It could be literally just, for example, Cardi B on a song, but everything else and everybody else are 9 times out of 10 paid first. Then the artist. How does that work?
So it's like this. If I produce a song and you write a song, if you wrote the song by yourself, that 50% of it goes to you, 50% goes to me. Now, depending on the artist that we get on the song, we may have to give some publishing up because a lot of artists cannot write. A lot of them cannot do none of that stuff, produce. But because they're the artist, they'll take publishing on the song, which is whack to me.
Okay. Tiffany Red was talking about that.
I ain't gonna bring it up. I ain't gonna get into it because I don't want no problems with nobody. But there are artists that she didn't say. All I'm gonna say is there is some truth in what that queen has said.
Okay.
And artists, I specifically remember several artists, and most writers don't care.
Right.
As long as you don't try to highway robber, just take all of it.
But they are though, yeah.
But a lot of times, some artists don't, particularly the artists that sing, not the rap. Most rappers, they normally write their stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the R&B and artists, things like that, or artists that sing, they don't write none of the song at all. They just get a copy of the demo, learn it, and come sing it, cut it with you.
Yeah.
So you'll know if me and you writing a song, we know if it's going to a certain, I'm not going to say any artist name, just leave them out, but a particular huge artist, and I'm going to say to you, listen, B, we're going to have to probably give up 20% or 25% of this record. So we just going to split it.
Okay.
Because a lot of times what people try to do is make the writer give up because they come in there on the right. Now, the producer and the writer should split it so they both make more money together. That's how you should do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because what you want is the placement because that placement is going to lead to more money.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just splitting it up 50-50. If I produce it and you wrote it, and if it's you, and let's say him wrote a song and I produced it, it's 25, 50 me. But we still say collectively, yo, this artist is gonna be huge and they're gonna want some publishing. So y'all get if they want 20, y'all give 5 apiece, and I'm gonna give 10. Cause now y'all gave a 5, you gave a 5, I gave a 10. So we equally share in the load.
Right.
But most producers or writers ain't that kind of person, so they're gonna try to be a jerk about it.
Right.
Instead of the whole team doing it,
right.
We all do it. Instead of the whole team doing it, they'll say, "I'm keeping mine." Well, they just being now. If we say no, you don't get nothing. So you got to understand how it works.
Right. Y'all share the load together.
Yeah.
So then, how does the label come into play with that? Because now
the label ain't gonna do it at this point. The label it'd be the A&R telling you or the artist manager telling you that. And to me, that's the whack. Like I would never do that as a manager. I wouldn't do that. I'm like, did you write on the song? Yeah. Well, then I'm gonna make sure you straight. But if you didn't write and they wrote it, we're not gonna ask for something that you didn't do no work in.
Right.
Tell them to take off a verse and write you a verse then. Or tell them, that's how I would do it. But that's because I'm a creative too.
Right.
But to me, I think it's whack that it doesn't. As long as a split is a split, it doesn't. At that point, the artist will make money if they're a part of that split.
Right.
But the artists will make money. This is why I think it's whack, because the artists make money every night performing it.
Right.
They don't come back and pay the producers and writers of the songs. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, I think it's whack because
it's
the
not
artists
like a
make
running
money.
TV credit every time it plays.
If it's a hit, the artist can sing the song for 30 years and they ain't paying you a dime.
Right.
But they won't publish it on the song. For what? You ain't. Now, it's artists like Mariah Carey who actually writes.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You got artists who actually writes.
Everything that they're talking about.
Yeah, they're actually, she not just a co-writer. She can write the whole Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
I worked with her. I saw her write a bridge of a song we had, except the bridge. She wrote the whole bridge by herself. It had nothing to do with us. You know what I'm saying? So it's different artists that actually write songs, but some majority don't. and they just get credit for it.
Right.
And you as the collective that's created the record, got to figure out a way where everybody shares the load. To me, that's the smartest way to do it.
Where do you see the music industry going now that we still have people that's being messed over? We used to think that the 360 deal from the labels was the worst. Mm-hmm. And we're coming up against, especially with now technology and people coming out with their stories, we're seeing that this is a whole different game. I remember when the Toni Braxton story came out, the Boyz II Men story came out, and back to back to back, we saw so many artists come out with documentaries about how they got effed over with 360 deals, whatever, you know, TLC level, you know, of taking artists' money. Yeah. But it's at a whole nother scale.
But see, the thing is, in those situations, the deals they signed, it was on that part. Mm-hmm. And it was and to me, that's them and their team's fault. Because you got to have somebody, because my thing is, I'm not going to get a lawyer that knows the company or a part of the company negotiating a deal. They're going to ride with the company that's paying them. They ain't going to ride with you. Yeah. You're going to think you get some money up front, but that money go quick, man. Yeah. So you got to make sure that you're getting the longevity. See, you negotiate if you're going to be a legacy artist. That's how I negotiate. I negotiate like this artist. Even if they gone in 5 years, I negotiate if they're going to be around 50 years. Yeah. That's how you negotiate for different artists. Yeah. And make sure as you continue to elevate, your advances and everything else starts to elevate as well as you elevate. That's how you negotiate. If you negotiate as if you're going to be around for a long time, instead of you trying to hit a quick lick, then those issues don't occur. Right. And that's how artists go broke. They don't negotiate as if they're going to be around a long time. Right. So that's the key.
So what things do you see in the music industry that's going to get better, like with time? And then what do you see may get worse in the music industry with time?
Better with time. It's going to be a lot more independent artists that's going to do well because the gift of social media. I wish we had that. Yeah. The gift of social media, it's going to be a lot of artists making a lot of money. I think those who prepare to go be around for a long time and actually do that have an opportunity to financially do some things wealth-wise for their families for generations to come when it comes to the catalog game. Yeah. That's a huge thing.
Okay, we'll get into that in a second. Yeah. Sorry.
And then the downfall, I think the accessibility is going to be the downfall. You got too much access to people. Yeah. So you're going to get more lawsuits and all that type of crazy stuff popping up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna get bigger. That's just gonna get worse for everybody. So.
Now it's like a cesspool of just random.
But some of it don't even be true, but it don't matter. You can sue me right now for me meeting you when you was 17 and I ain't do nothing bad to you, right? But you can just say it, but just because you said it, it's automatically
It'll ruin you.
For no reason.
It'll ruin you.
For no reason at all.
And don't let it be a picture of us like this.
Yeah, like
your hand on my shoulder.
Yeah, like it's done. And naturally, I don't. But naturally, back in the day, it was always like, hey, you know what I'm saying? My arm is up here. It ain't down here on the waist and on that goofy. It's up here. You know what I'm saying? But now, I take pictures. I be like,
you know what I'm saying? Funny. And all men get small. It is so funny.
Leaning away, like it's crazy.
Men get smaller and smaller in pictures.
Yep. Yep.
You see hands here. They do not. It's another boxer who they wanted him to like hug the ring girl or something. Yeah. And you see him being like, no, no,
Yeah, give
me my belt. I'll hold my belt.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna hold her.
That part of it is gonna be the down, the bad part of it. But people gonna say what they're gonna say. Yeah. Try to get money out of you and stuff like that. That's just the game. Somebody can literally say that you never met and say something about you or me. Right. And boom, nothing you can do. Right. Because people going to believe it. Because why believe the truth when the lie is more entertaining, like Charlamagne say?
All the time. The lie is going to travel around the world before the truth even gets to put his shoe on.
And then when the truth hits, it'd be a small article in the corner, little letters. But it's not as large.
Never happened.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, a social shade room and all them, they'll post all this, but then when the person is found not guilty or they was lying, you won't even see it. And they'll wait. It'll hit Tuesday. You'll see it Saturday. Like, no, dog, be just as loud. You know what I'm saying? But this is how it go.
I won 2 words, Jonathan Majors. That was crazy. But
did you see that woman suing him?
I don't even want to.
That's crazy to me. Boy, hey, listen to me. I say it like this.
I can't wait to talk about it on the radio.
I say it like this. My grandfather used to tell me this. You play in the snow, you might get frostbitten. So, hey, listen, that's what happened, man. Yeah. You chose that path. Now you got to deal with the repercussions when things don't go correctly.
Can you imagine your son was running away from a woman and he still is found guilty?
That's crazy.
Insane.
I'll say this. If that was a sister, he wouldn't have got found guilty.
No. She must have did something to him. She must have made him mad.
Because they peg black women as the angry this and that, and all they doing is standing on business. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. That's why I'm still single, Chad. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, man, take your time.
But before we talk about Amplify Milwaukee, last thing about catalogs. We see so many people selling off their catalogs, and in particular to United Music Group, I want to say. The UMG. Okay. So why are they selling off these catalogs like that? And what does that mean for music?
Is like you're able to, your catalog has a value.
Okay.
I'll just use random small numbers. So let's say your catalog is worth $1 million. Sometimes these companies are paying 12x, 14x, 25x on that catalog. So what they're doing is just getting you the money now instead of having to wait over this. If your thing is making $1 million a year, it might take you 25 years to get to $25 million. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
What they're doing is grabbing it now, saying we'll give you 16x or 20x on it, and we'll just give you the money all up front. But the thing is, the catalog automatically reverts back to you in 30 years. But you obviously have to put in a request for it to revert back to you. But in 30 years, you get your catalog back if you have a written notice. Because by law, they can't hold it no more longer than 30 years.
Okay. So what is the play for the company, though?
Because they're able to then take those records for. I'll give you an example. Montel Jordan, this is how we do it. Plays just as much now as it did back when it came out.
Yes, it does.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the company that owns the master for that song is still making money like it's 1990 whatever he said on the song or whatever. So that's why. So so let's say they gave him $1 million for that song. They've made 10, 20 million off that $1 million they gave him. They just had the million to give it up front. So that's why.
So when we see artists selling it for one price, they probably are making times that.
Oh, absolutely. They will give it to you. It's just business. Like, why would I pay you something and I make less? It's just straight business. So in their mind, if they're giving you 10x, they know they can make 16x on it.
Okay.
If they give you 20x, they know they can make 25 or 27x on it. And, and the X is a big number. So if I invest $20 million, but I know I'm getting 31 back, I'm gonna do that deal every time.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what it's about. It's just about knowing what the catalog is worth and then what it could be worth. And the thing is, a lot of artists do it because they don't have the wherewithal to go and license it out. These companies have the wherewithal to go license it out to the Super Bowl or Fritos or Doritos or Pepsi or whatever movies. So that's the thing. Their job is strictly to license it out as much of it as they can. That's why.
That one guy, you're my little boo thing. What do you say? I hear that everywhere now. And I was like, I hope this guy is getting paid however which way.
If he's handling his business, he is. It just depends. Everything goes. People don't get got if they're handling their business.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's a reason the word music is so many letters and the word business is so many letters. You got to handle the business first and then get to the music.
Right.
So that's the problem. A lot of times people will get in situations and try to handle the business after. If me and you working, if I'm working with you as an artist, before we even get in the studio, the business is handled.
Yeah.
That way we know what it is. Whether if it's a hit or a dud, we know what the business is.
Yeah.
If we hit a home run in the studio, everybody taking care of how they're supposed to because we handle business prior to, not after. It's
so funny. Last thing, I promise, but I could sit here and talk to you about this all day long. Yeah, for sure. Ludacris mentioned that his manager, that he still has after all these years, it was a handshake.
I did a post about that.
Yeah.
That's rare.
Yeah.
I would never work with anybody without it. If you're a manager out there, listen to me, manager. If you're a manager out there and you're working with an artist in the beginning of their careers, now if you get into an artist and they're already going, that's one thing. But if you get into an artist and they don't have no deal, they don't have no situations, they're working a 9 to 5, whatever, and you start to manage them and you're able to help in their growth, you should have in your contracts a sunset clause. And what that clause says is, I can manage you, Bri.
Okay.
And you are just Bri right now.
Yes.
But then you become Bri for Renfrey later in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
My contract says, once you start getting your money, you can fire me, my services, but you can't fire my percentage.
Okay.
So my percentage stays locked in. So if you want to go get a new management, you're welcome to go get a new management.
Yeah.
You still owe me my whatever.
You still owe me that 10% or whatever
20,
it was.
15, whatever the number is. You still owe that. And then you can buy yourself out, whatever we agree to. If we choose not to settle on a number, once that year, let's say our contract ends at the end of 2024. From 2025 to 2026, if my percentage was 20, it goes to 15 for that year.
Oh. Wow.
2026 to 2027, it goes down to 10 for that year.
Okay.
2027, 2028, it goes to 5%, and then you're done with me.
Okay.
But you had to walk that out. Now, to me, if I'm a business person, I'm going to say, listen, man, I'm going to give you $250, get you out of my pocket now.
Okay.
I just pay you right when I'm ready to let you go. We can negotiate. Or you can just let the sunset happen. And then in between there, the person just sitting back. You mess around and get a hit record to blow up. Now you owe more than you would have owed if you just paid them got them out your pockets. But artists won't do that sometimes. They just sit and wait because sometimes they just frustrated about situations going on with them, whatever.
Situations, egos, I'm not paying.
But then when stuff start going right for you, then now you want to buy out, that person, that former manager, has the right not to take one in.
Right.
Or if the number would have been $200,000, they might say, yeah, I'll take a buyout for $600 now.
No.
So all managers make sure if you start, this only works if you're starting with somebody and they don't have a deal or they're not a big artist or nothing like that. That works. Now if they are like, you can't take that to Cardi B. She already who she is.
Right.
Realistically, she don't even need you as a manager at this point. Right now, all the opportunities are coming to her. Your manager helps finds opportunities. That's what your manager does. But if the opportunities are coming, then she don't need you for real. She
right. What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? She can have her assistant handle that and just pay her assistant extra bread.
Right.
So that only works for when you're starting with the artist. So that's the key.
You know, I really could sit here and talk to you forever because I got so many situations and minds and thoughts. Like, what's your opinion on it, right? Because on the back end, I could look at things and say, that's not how that should go. Like, one of the other things that I could think to mind was, like, Megan Thee Stallion and 300 and 1,500. Yeah. But she still got something going on with 300 Entertainment, and then she also got Roc Nation, like that whole triangle. But
I'll say this with the Megan Thee Stallion thing: the 15, because I know who Carl Crawford is. See, people think Carl Crawford is just some regular dude. No. Carl Crawford got several $100 million contracts playing baseball. He's a former baseball superstar.
Yes.
So the man had money before Megan Thee Stallion was ever thought of as a rapper. He been getting money, like he been having millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
He took his money and invested into her.
Yes.
Now she did have talent, so he should be compensated
rightfully for what he was able to do.
People forget what you did for them when they were small. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just pay and be done with it. You already bid. You got money. Get them out. I don't know.
I do like that method.
I don't know the contracts they have, so I'm just speaking generally.
As a manager,
just as anything. The man been rich. This ain't nothing new. This Carl, when you get time, look who Carl Crawford has been before, way before. Because the average, most people, young people, no disrespect to you, they don't do research. They don't look. They just look at who they don't. Like. They just look at who they like and say, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
No. Carl Crawford ain't never been broke.
No.
Since he was 18 years old in the major leagues. He been having money for years.
I know him since Evelyn.
He had money way before Evelyn.
I know.
That's why Evelyn.
But that's how I knew. That's how I knew.
The man was a superstar baseball player. If you go look, the only people that make more than baseball players are soccer players, and soccer players not in the United States, over in Manchester United. They want, but baseball players make more money than everybody. You want to know why? Because their check is guaranteed.
Yeah.
So
no injury, no nothing can stop what they got coming.
Player right now, let's say the highest player like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown might have got a contract for $300 million. Shohei Ohtani got a $700 million contract. So they still behind.
My goodness.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if you think about it, nobody makes more money than baseball players, and they get baseball play. It was a baseball player. They played for the Brewers. His name was Gary Sheffield, right?
Yeah.
He's a great baseball player. Played for the Yankees, the Brewers, different. Gary Sheffield might still be getting paid right now, and he's been retired for 15, 20 years because the amount of money they make, they'll just extend the contract for, we'll pay you, if we owe you $100 million, instead of paying you all now, we'll say after retirement, we'll give you $10 million a year for 10 years after you retire.
Right.
That's how the baseball
and that's
money
a
works.
bet.
That's what I'm saying. So think about how it ain't nothing like basketball or football. So these cats, Carl Crawford, I remember Carl Crawford getting a $120-something million contract. I think it was with the Boston Red Sox. Megan Thee Stallion wasn't even thought of at this point.
Yeah.
And she's talented, so I'm not
and
disrespecting her.
And depending on the year, basketball players wasn't even getting that.
Come on, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So it's not that he was a broke person at all. I don't know what their contractual obligations were, but I do know the leverage was had by Carl Crawford because he had money way before she did.
Right.
So he had the leverage. So the contract probably was in his favor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because most contracts go to people who have the leverage.
Right.
And in that case, he was rich already, been rich. So his company had the leverage over her as an independent new artist.
Right.
So
because he the one with the money, he the one with the he's the one with the know-how, to get people
to the know-how. He can afford to pay people the know-how.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm glad they came up with a solution that everybody taken care of. But just knowing that he been rich, he had the leverage in that situation. So whatever the documentation said, that's between them. But I just know he wasn't broke at that time.
All this information I was blessed to get from experience, and even just now sitting here and talking with you. And I know that you've created a platform to bless other people with this same knowledge, the financial end, the entrepreneurship of it all, the details of the music industry, and more. And not even just on your field of work of how you came up, but beyond that, how to be a businessman, how to be a businesswoman, and it's called Amplify Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I got a chance to watch some of the interviews, and I was like, oh, wait, hold on, wait a minute, give me a pen, write that part down. There's a new series that I'm coming out with, and literally from something that you said, I was like, I got to contact that man. Like, what was his name again? Let me contact him, and it's escaping me right now, but in that interview, I was like, I have to ask about this. He was like he was another entertainment guy that was he was talking about paperwork, documentation, and how that's different with video, how that's different with audio, and that interview that I'm doing for research, just to come and sit here and talk with you, literally changed the projection of how I'm gonna do the next 2 months to have this thing come out, right? And I just wanted you to talk about, how did you get the idea to start Amplify Milwaukee? Where is it going? Where do you see it going? And just where can people find it?
So Amp MKE was something they had a program called Backline over at Radio Milwaukee. And it was like a 3-month program that they were doing with different artists. So they got a new executive director, which was a friend of mine, and he reached out to me about coming in to help them with that. Because of my experience in the music industry, to help with that. I said, well, there's no way I would do anything where you do it for 3 months and it's the music industry. It's impossible. So I said, if I had to do something, it would have to be for the entire year. So that way the people got the adequate information, because you can't learn nothing in 3 months.
That's like the acre program here with the real estate. Like, it's a whole year.
Yeah, you got to do that. So because there's so many different variations of things that can go a different way, you got to catch as much as you can within a year. 3 months is impossible. So I told them I would do it if they would do it for a year, if they would do a year agreement with me, because I don't do 2 and 3 month agreements. So we did a partnership for a year, and we were working with artists, with 4 artists we were working with. And then they were like, well, after year 1, it went amazing. They were like, well, how can we do this for the community? I said, well, let's do a 3-year agreement for changing it. And what I'll do is I'll have the same friends of mine that we use to talk to the artists individually. I'll just bring them in and have conversations with them. Okay. So that's what I started doing. That's how it's kind of like, people call it a podcast, which is cool because it's on all the platforms as a podcast. But
you reverted back to your roots, actually. You became a teacher all over again.
So literally now it's like if you go look at the one we just did one Friday with Marcella Oreka, who's like the big producer, mix engineer, work with Missy, Timberland, everybody. It's like my homegirl. So we just did one with her. It got like 2,000 views. We just went, cause we always go live on Facebook. It's 2,000 people on there. So what it does is it teaches people about the business of music, not the music business, the business of music. It teaches about what people went through to get to where they are. So people like Rico came on, shared the story. Vincent Cersei, who I work with Jacob, Lil Jacob and stuff. It was like a lot of different people I got. Then I also do mental health awareness. So I do Mental Health Month in May. So I have a clinician, a black and brown or brown clinician, come in, and we talk about that, because when you get into the industry, if you're an artist who's making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, then you get a deal. The next year you make $400,000. Then the next year you making a couple million. That could be traumatizing. So what I do is make sure we talk about the mental health aspect of being in the industry. These high highs and these low lows that can mess you up. So there are people, you've heard about people committing suicide and things because they were on a low. Yeah. Instead of dealing with it, having somebody talk to them, they they chose other alternatives. So my goal is to make sure that they understand that there are people there for you, and you can't. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Yeah. If people would treat their mental health just as well as they treat their physical health, it'd be a lot less issues. But we don't do that, especially in the Black and brown community. Right. We talk about pray it away, go to church, all that type of stuff. No, you still need to talk to somebody. So you can do both. You can go to theology and therapy. You can do both. You know what I'm saying? So we have that piece. And then we have financial literacy pieces because a lot of these people.
That's the part I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, I had my boy Will Roundtree come, and we chop it up about financial literacy. Yeah. So, and Will is from Milwaukee. He live out in Vegas.
I met Will before. Yeah. Every time he comes, I always miss him by a day. I see like a flyer where he's going to be somewhere, and I'm like, how did I see this a day after?
That's like my ace boom coon. So me and Will do things as well, and we do financial literacy so that we can teach people when you have these companies, if you build your personal credit, you can then use your personal credit to build your business credit. So then once you build your business credit, you can start getting funding for your projects and your things. Yep. So we teach that side of it as well. So we're not telling you how to spend your money. We're telling you how to make your money so you can spend it how you choose. Right. So we do those things, and it's just literally just teaching because we don't do that in our community. And to me, we got enough people doing all of the other stuff.
Doing all of the podcasts that mean nothing.
Yeah, everybody want to talk about marriage and this and that, but they ain't nobody married. Like, man, you taking a relationship with somebody who's single? Right. Like, that's cool, but how you talking about marriage and you ain't been married more than 5 years?
Chad,
you know what I'm saying? So
I had to stop people like from talking to me about relationships, and I'm like, but your wife miserable?
Yeah,
but like, you was just DMing me on the side talking about some other stuff.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, I stick with what I know. I know the music, and I know the business of music, and then I know about mental health because I partner with Aurora Healthcare, and I've done over 30 events with them dealing with health, heart health, mental health, family health. Yeah. So we've done a lot of things where we do Family Health Day. That was last year was our second annual. We gave 100 bikes away to the kids. We've done glucose testing, blood pressure checks, all that. So I've been doing that with my Dreams Never Expire nonprofit. So I was like just pulling pieces of that into the amplifier too because that's needed as well. Right. And we still got we got Business Boy coming this year. We got the season. We got the thing with the Black Music Collective with the Grammys. We're going to do that. We're going to do that with Rico and Jay Ivy. We're doing. We just had Marcella for Women's History Month. Right. Next month we have Financial Literacy with Lamont Smith, and that's the 27th of April. And we're gonna.
I literally became a subscriber as soon as I seen it.
Yeah, we literally get ready to do some deep dive. Now, it's free. You can come in or you can watch it online. To me, it's nothing like being there because you get to actually talk to the people when they get off the stage. Right. That's what people miss because they don't show up. It'd be 1,000, 2,000 people online, but then it might be 60 or 70 people in the audience or 25 people, whatever. But those people in the audience get extra because when the cameras cut off, that's all you got. But they get to sit down and chop it up with the people. They exchange information with these people sometimes. Right. So some people end up coming to writing camps that we have with different songwriters and producers because they were in the building.
Y'all actually worked with a young lady. She worked at Akira in Mayfair Mall. Her name is Kamora.
She came. I met her in Chicago. Yeah, I just met her in Chicago at Rico's writing camp. She's like, I've been following you. You won't follow me back. I'm like, I don't know you, darling. And then you're a kid, like you look like a little kid to me, so I wouldn't know, like I wouldn't know who you are. But when she talked to me and we actually worked in the studio together, Kia Moore is her name.
Kia Moore,
and I said I'm gonna follow you right now because that girl can blow. She can sing. She's a youngster, like maybe 21, something like that.
When she was working in, she asked me, I was getting stuff like DJing something, whatever, V100, and I played her song on the radio. This is when I ran Heat from the Street when Promise Left and whatever. I ran Heat from the Street. And I loved her music. Yep. And I told her, I said, WGCI does this thing every year in Chicago. And whatever you do, all the music summits that you can look at, see if they're in Chicago, they're great when they're here, but they're even better when they're in Chicago. Because there's just more people who do what you want to do down there. So when you go, my first year I went to WGCI
I've been there before.
Summit. Changed how I saw radio, what I wanted to do. Like, changed everything, and I got focused when I went there. I didn't just view this as, oh, I'm going to the radio station and volunteer to see if I like it. I said, no, hell no, this is a career. Exactly. Like, this is what I'm doing. And WGCI did that for me, and I'm glad she took a little bit of advice and went down.
I met her. Nice young lady, can sing and write, and she was a part of Rico does these writing camps, and I went to the one in Chicago. He's doing another one on the same day I'm doing my Amplifier on the 27th in Boston, but then I'm flying out, going to Denver to go to the one in Denver. Okay. I had a good time. I'm like, bro, I'm coming to the next one. He's like, I got an event. I was like, but I'm gonna catch you in Denver. Yeah. So I'm gonna fly from Milwaukee.
I'm gonna have to come to one of these. I'm gonna be in Miami for the African American Film Festival. Okay. But beyond that, and then I got like a little larger or whatever. But beyond that, I've been saying like I'm gonna take a flight to come out there. So hopefully one of these ones, I'll let you know. Like, hey, I'm coming out. I'm gonna come see you. Yeah, for sure. Because although I'm not like an artist, I still benefit from these conversations. I love music. If I knew how to sing, I'd sing. If I knew how to rap, I would rap. Right. But I can't do none of that. And when I was younger, I used to be like, dang, I can't do none of it. Like, I would never be in the music industry. And lo and behold, what God had for me, I was in the music industry.
Just a different way.
Just not a way that I thought of.
That's what I want people to know. I also do a program once a month in Milwaukee with the Wisconsin Community Service. So the kids who have to do community service hours for getting in trouble, me and my boy Sean Hinton, we do once a month where we teach young people how to be mix engineers or recording engineers and producers. So they learn how to mix and record themselves in Pro Tools and they learn how to make the production in Logic. So we do that once a month. We just closed a contract with them in January.
Sean was my CLC teacher.
Oh, what?
And I used to tell him like, I want to be on TV. I want to be on radio. Like, I want to be somebody. And I swear he used to be like, you could do it. Yep. You just need to focus. Yep. His whole thing, he thought I was like super in the boys. I was in the boys, but I wasn't like crazy like some girls. Yeah. But he was like, no, you need to focus. And when dudes would come around me, he'd be like, not her.
Yep.
Back up. Yep. You know. And when I first got on radio, he was one of the first people that said, Bri, I hear you, girl. How you got your dreams? Like, look at you, what you doing?
Sean, like that's my little brother, man. We've been working together for 20-something years.
That's amazing.
He's extremely talented. When I mentioned to him, he's like, I'll do it. He never asked about how much he gonna make. He never asked nothing about money. He just like, I'm down. I'm gonna do it. And I was like, well, you do get paid to do it. He's like, man, I don't even care. So whatever his pay is, I just want to do it. Like, he one of those type of people. And,
my first Bucks game, he did the national. I was like,
the guitar. Yeah.
I was like. Yep. It was like a full circle moment for me. My 5th grade teacher who really taught me how to read. Like, I knew how to read, but he, like, by the end of the year in 5th grade, I was at a 4th grade reading level. I was at a 12th grade reading level because he taught me how to read. Him and my dad. And then Sean Hinton was on the guitar, and he taught me how to believe in my dreams. And whatever I wanted to do, I was right there to grab it. And then more and more that game, it just made sense, and it was against the 76ers and everything. Like, it was like my first ever, like, on the court with the mic. I was nervous. Shit, I damn near started stuttering.
Right.
I was like, oh my goodness. I prayed to God. I was like, God, please don't let me mess this up. Please don't let me mess this up. I saw all these things. I got on the court and I was confident. And all of y'all have been able to see this, you know, and I thank y'all so much for even believing in these things. And my goals and what I wanted to do.
Man, if it's all love,
you simply just say yes, and it was like, man, it means the world to me.
Man, it's all good to me.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Me. It's all good. Somebody had to believe in me, and I always tell people, especially 24-year-old you, there are certain things that you think about that you want to try. I tell you, like an old woman told me, try them all. Even if you fail, you will be an 80-year-old woman saying, I remember I tried to do this. It didn't work, but at least I learned this. So I always encourage young people because there's only so much we can do when we get to a point in our career. And it's time to then figure out how we can help the next people coming behind us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if ever I always get an opportunity to talk to young people, to deal with young people, I always try to encourage them, even when they're not good at something, because they might not be just good right now. Because I was garbage at one point at what I'm doing for getting paid.
Yeah, we all were.
I was terrible. Like, I listened to some old songs. I'm like, man, what was I thinking? But the good thing is nobody discouraged me. So the good thing is with you, even when you're not good at something right away, it may still be something that you end up being amazing at. You just got to hone your skills and lock in. So I always encourage people, no matter what you do, no matter how long you think it's going to take, one thing about a dream, it never expires because if God gave it to you, it's a possibility that it can happen. So I just want to encourage everybody that out there watching and listening that just go for it.
I want to thank you again for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me.
I mean, I can't say it enough. You've made like my whole month. Like, good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, I mean, you know how many no's I get?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd be like, okay, I'm all right. Yeah. Like I said, God got me and I'm good. But to hear a yes and to hear a yes from somebody who, did I know that you remember me? Kind of.
Yeah.
But to know that you actually care about this journey with me, that makes me feel like
for sure. And another thing I'll say to you,
super special.
When you try to reach out to certain people, if you think I'm connected, just call me first and then let me tell them because they'll do
I'm cutting that out the interview, but yeah,
just let me know. Let me know. I can plug you with way more. Like I can get Rico to do. Like since they cutting this out, I can get Rico to do this when he here. Okay. I can get Jacob, little Jacob. Yeah. Like certain people, I can get them to do it because they like family. You know what I'm saying? It's like Jacob like my nephew.
Right.
Rick, that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? That's my nigga. Means, so just holler at me. Yeah, just holler at me and I can hook you up to get certain people if they hear. You know what I'm saying? They got to be here.
I'll wait to see if they hear.
Yeah,
you know,
just let me know. Hit me in advance.
Yeah,
this is I can't get you JT because she coming, but she coming right when it's time to do what she got to do, and then she leaving.
Right.
So she not even staying. Otherwise, I can get you JT because I know the president, I know the owner and the president. I know Simone who runs everything. Like me and Simone was business partners for a while. So.
I'm doing Music Mondays like on my Instagram, and I gotta talk about JT. I love her. Yeah. My God,
this ain't gonna be this ain't in right.
No. This we'll cut out. Yeah. I love her.
Yeah, she doing her thing.
My God, and no shade to no group. Anyway, let's end it so we can talk. Okay. So. Thank you so much for coming on. Let the viewers know where they can find you. How can they get in contact with you if they got questions about Amplifier? How can they get involved?
Just hit the Amplifier IG or the Amplifier Facebook, and the assistants will get me the information for whoever reaching out to whatever questions or answer the questions. Mm-hmm. You can follow me Chaz C Note Roper on everything. You can watch Amplifier on Facebook page, or you can watch it on YouTube. There's a YouTube page for that, or you can download it on anywhere podcasts are. Mm-hmm. You know, it's an hour of it, but a lot of times our amplifiers go an hour and a half, sometimes two. So you can watch the long version, just like everybody else on YouTube. Yep. So that's it. Chaz C Note Roper everywhere, man.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, my sister. Keep doing great work. I love what you got going on. I'm proud of you. Keep grinding. Keep grinding. Keep grinding.
Thank you.
Yeah.